DJ KTONE, DJ SQUIZZY Digital Online Showcase. We have a special guest
very
for
special.
season 3. We are proud to announce we have Mayor Hancock in the building today.
What's up, fellas?
How you doing? First of all, we'd like to thank you for doing this. I know you're busy. You have a busy schedule and we're on the time crunch. So we'd like to thank you for taking your time out your day to do this. Digital Online Showcase. We do this every week. We focus on music, culture, fashion, and all that. So we like to start because I know you're a music man as well. You know, in Denver, there's several musical legends, talents, and all that came from Denver. Philip Bailey, John Denver, NDRE. Were you aware or around any of them before they became successful and international stars?
Yeah, no, KTONE, I'm not that old, man. I obviously I'm aware of all of them. You know, NDRE is not that much older. She obviously came out of the northeast part of town. I never met her. I did and have gotten to know Philip Bailey. Since then, he has a son my age, and so I met him through his son when I was a teenager. But you know, Earth, Wind and Fire was already legendary at that point in time. And,
Nice. Yeah. So what is your favorite genre of music, if we can ask?
Man, I'm easy. I'm old school R&B soul, man. You bring me some Frankie Beverly and Mays and some OJs and you know,
way before my time.
Temps, Full Top. That's who I am. Motown.
Okay. So that's what you. So if we hopped in Mayor Hancock's car right now, is that what you're still listening to now, or are you up to date with the current hits going on, or you still going with the old school?
Man, I'm still going with R&B soul, man. I mean, that music tells a story, bro. I love to hear the stories. And so if you got in my car, here in my office on Fridays, I bump a little music. I don't know what other men have done, but I like a little music when I'm working. But I'm also big on gospel. So I'll pull up the gospel, which is still very close to the genre of R&B soul.
Yeah.
So give me a song or artist that your friends or family would be surprised that you love.
That I love? Man, I don't think anybody would be surprised anything I love, man. I mean, they might be surprised at a few songs in country music, you know, that I've listened to and bumped to a little bit. You know, I don't know if there's anything. I mean, they know I'm in the gospel. Best in Me by Marvin Sapp. Never Would Have Made It by Marvin Sapp, you know.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a classic. That's a good one.
Yeah,
Never would have made it.
Yeah. Sing that.
That's what's up. So my question is, okay, any artist, dead or alive, if you can go to one concert, any concert in the world, one artist, where's that? Where are you going? Who are you going to see?
Oh, I only get one?
One.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what, dead or alive right now, it would be Bruno Mars.
Oh,
that's a good one.
That's current though. You just said old school, but now you pick a current artist.
But come on, I mean, his rise to prominence and where he is because he knows how to tap that old school vibe. He reminds me so much of Michael Jackson when I see him on stage and performing.
Definitely. Okay. Definitely. So, Mayor Hancock, are you familiar with the Denver music scene? And if you are, give me one artist that's one of your favorite from the Denver music scene.
Oh, of course, Mary Louise Lee.
Okay.
You really have to ask that.
But that was kind of easy. You got well, besides her, anybody else?
Yeah, I mean, I check out Soul School. I'm a Ron Ivory fan. Jakarta. You know, those are the bands that we have grown to really love. Jofo Kill. I mean, we know them all. We've grown up with them in Denver.
Definitely. A lot of people say music is therapy too. Give me a song that 1 motivates you, 2 calms you, and 3 puts you in a deep reflection.
Oh, How I Love Jesus by Rance Allen and Kirk Franklin.
Okay.
No doubt.
Okay. What does that do? Motivate you? That calms you?
It motivates me, inspires me, and allows me to meditate. Reminds me of my why every day.
Okay.
Inspires me.
Okay. Getting into more current events, man. Mayor, how do you feel the current events surrounding the presidency affect your current role as the mayor, or does it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it affects all of us. I don't care if you're an elected official, you lead an organization, I think just average, everyday Americans, it has been painful to watch. And because everything that we want to believe in about America has been shaken, and in terms of the strength of our democracy. We have, if you will, the wizard has been exposed, if you will, the weaknesses have been exposed. It just shows that we got a lot of work to do. And as a mayor, making sure to assure people in the confidence and the safety in this democracy is extremely important, and to remind people that it still works and we still have one of the greatest forms of governance in the world.
Definitely.
I like that. So you've been the mayor for 10 years now. What led you to get into politics? Like, was this always a dream, like as a kid, or did it shift, or did you just get put in a lucky position to take this route, or how did your start in politics go?
It's no surprise. If you grew up in Northeast Denver around Manual, Cole, 5 Points, and you saw leaders like Wellington Webb, Hiawatha Davis, Regis Groff, Gloria Tanner, you could not help but to be interested in politics and serving your community. And so somehow, some way, God made it so that I was exposed to those individuals, Bill Roberts, all of them. And they poured a little something into me and a lot of us to go back and to make sure you don't leave your community, you serve it. And that has just been the model that we've had. And so all of us growing up, whether it was Peter Groff, Elbert Wedgeworth, all of us came through that, and they molded each and every one of us to get back to our community.
Definitely. I'm curious to hear your take on, the current controversial climate of the election and the recent Capitol takeover. What's your take on that?
Well, first of all, there's no question Donald Trump got beat. He got beat badly. I think all of us knew that America was not going to reelect this guy, and that we were going to do everything we could to win the election. We were surprised in some states like Georgia pulling it out, Arizona pulling it out, but that is nothing but God, man. It was time for this guy to go. He's the most dangerous president. We knew he was not going to leave easily and willfully, and he was going to do everything to disrupt. I think very clearly after he leaves office on January 20th, as soon as possible, he needs to be brought up on charges of insurrection and inciting riot. And he will be charged with a lot of things, but we need to allow him to lose the cover of being the president and to charge him criminally, because what happened at the Capitol, he incited, and there's no question about that. The Republicans who support him today, I'm watching a lot of it online on TV today. There's just no excuse. We know what happened. We all watched it, like the Super Bowl. We saw what he did, and he needs to be held accountable for it. And I expect that he will.
Absolutely, definitely. So here at Digital Online Showcase, myself, SQUIZZY Taylor, this is a community show. We are for the people too. So we kind of rounded a couple questions up and kind of molded it in our way. You know what I mean? So I frequently see on social media, your name being called out from different leaders of the community. And the number one topic I hear about is the displacement and the sweeps of the homeless. So I will say it sounds like they're following up on an action plan. Can you tell us where the city and state is with coming up with a resolution, and what steps have been taken?
Well, first of all, let me just say this, and I've said this publicly. This is one of the more complex issues I have personally ever been involved with, whether as a community leader or as an elected official. This is an issue that, if all three of us were homeless, there would have to be a tailored approach to each and every one of us, because our cause and what rendered us homeless is different, and we have to approach it differently. We certainly have seen over the last few years circumstances that have exacerbated the number of people who are homeless in our city. But that doesn't mean we stop. And I would challenge anyone to find a city in this country that has devoted more resources than the city of Denver to address the challenges of our neighbors who are experiencing homelessness in the city. KTONE, I've said this before. my family at one point experienced a bout of homeless, a brief moment of homelessness. And I'm grateful that no one said to my mother, you and your family can go live on the streets in Denver, Colorado. But they turned to us resources that would help us not only avoid living on the streets, but to allow us to move on to sustainability. I don't find it okay anytime to encourage someone to live on the street where they're vulnerable to not only the weather, but to being harmed by someone because they're vulnerable and sleeping. And it's also unhealthy and unsanitary. So while we don't allow that, we are pouring a vast amount of resources into connecting people with services, getting people into more stable transitional housing, and hopefully moving them on to greater self-sufficiency. That's what our mission is, and that's what we're going to stay focused on.
Okay. So what do you feel would be the best solution for both sides?
Well, I don't know what the other side is in terms of their side may be to allow people to continue to camp outdoors. I don't know if you have been into or seen encampments. They become fertile ground for infestation and for infectious diseases to spread. They're unsafe, they're unhealthy, and they're unsanitary. And, my number one responsibility as mayor is to promote the health and safety of all residents of Denver. And we have gone in and we have pulled, dozens, if not hundreds of needles and pounds, thousands of pounds of excrement and urine, and people have been assaulted in these encampments. They're just not healthy or safe. And we have to continue to work toward better solutions and continue to try to.
If somebody is unfamiliar or uninformed about what is going on, where's the best place that you would advise us to go to find out more information or to find out what the plan is or to stay informed on what's going on with the homelessness?
It's, very easy, denvergov.org, and they can go into housing webpage. We have a whole section devoted to the resources for our homeless.
Okay. Transition a little bit because myself, I'm a entrepreneur, SQUIZZY's entrepreneur. A lot of people that we deal with are self-employed, and we're wondering how will small businesses recover from COVID?
If they
will, or if they will at all.
Yeah, we've already lost a lot of our small businesses, and there isn't a more vulnerable segment of our business community more vulnerable to losing their business as well as not being able to come back than our small businesses. We're going to have to be very intentional. We've already spent some, $40 million, I think, for our small businesses in Denver, trying to help them hold on through all of this. And so we have to, one, make sure that we have an efficient, equitable rollout of the vaccine, and two, we move in and be very intentional about helping our small businesses, particularly our small businesses and our entrepreneurs and communities of color.
So what do you, in your opinion, what do you think the nightlife or the entertainment as a whole in Colorado will look after COVID?
Well, man, if it's any indication in terms of what people are doing now, we know that people are ready to get back out there and get involved. I think, first of all, we're going to have, I was out on Friday with a friend for dinner, and I got to tell you, the restaurant was busy. And so I was pleased to see that. It was the first time since the last shutdown that I've been out there, but I wanted to see it. And then people want to be out there. So I expect that there's going to be a lot of effort to get people out, live music, back in the restaurants. You're going to see some unique things. We're going to do everything we can to support that from the city level. I think the vibrancy of Denver will come back in terms of that element because everyone's been so wild.
We'll get back in the clubs sometime soon.
Yeah, I expect it. Absolutely. Don't you miss it? I know y'all miss it.
Man, come on now.
We miss it. Our pockets miss it.
I know it.
People miss us too.
Yeah, they miss you.
Definitely. So I did have a question. If you could have one more term, what would you do differently, or do you feel like you would do? No, just answer that. What would you do differently if you had one more term?
Well, the reality is that we got to stay the course, and I think that if COVID has showed us anything or presented any opportunity for us, is that we come back different and we come back better. And different meaning that we want to build an economy that is much more equitable going forward. Too many people, even in the robust times, were left behind in Denver. So we get a chance to build back differently, but build back better at the same time. And that's what I think will carry on with me in the finish from this term to the end and into the next term with the next mayor. Be different, be better. And we get that opportunity.
Okay. So I really have two questions, but I'm gonna go to the other one first. So what legacy in your eyes do you feel like you left or that you're leaving on Denver compared to the legacy that you wanted to leave? Do you think you hit the mark or the goals that you wanted to? How do you feel about your legacy now that you're about to step away from being the mayor?
Squizzy, I don't spend a lot of time thinking about legacy, to be honest with you. That's not a sidestep. I think when you get distracted with that, you take your eye off the ball. I'll let other folks figure that out. But I'll tell you that one of my hopes is that people see that when I came in, the rest of the world wasn't really focused on Denver. They knew Denver's talents and potential. And I remember being overseas and saying, you know what, we want to convince everyone we deserve to be on this global stage and be competitive. And I would never forget a global, it was a vice premier of Japan said, we always knew Denver was globally competitive. We were just waiting for you to figure it out. And so here we are. We are connected around the world more than we were when I became mayor. And I know we're more competitive globally.
Okay. So my other question is kind of backtracking, but it's about the vaccine.
Yeah.
So us getting back to normal, how does the rollout look for you as far as your everyday people getting the vaccine and getting us back to, normal nightlife or back into businesses as we were?
We're going to try to mirror our testing strategy here in Denver, where we went into some of the underserved communities and to make sure that the vaccine is made available in those neighborhoods. Most people who would have the vaccine available to them live in neighborhoods where they have grocery stores like Safeway and King Soopers, CVS, where the vaccine is going to be available to them. Are their physicians going to make sure they get it? Well, where most of our community lives, they're food deserts, so they don't have those Safeways, King Soopers, and so that's where you're going to find the city set up small vaccination drive-throughs to get people vaccinated. So we're going to go where we know the most vulnerable, perennially underserved communities exist, get them vaccinated because typically they would be overlooked.
Okay. Do you think is the goal to have the majority of people vaccinated and ready to kind of return to somewhat normal life? Would you say summer or when will you think?
I think this summer. I think we'll be able to see things like Winter Park Jazz Festival take off. I think you'll be able to see maybe a scaled version of Juneteenth. I think you're going to see the nightclubs, late spring, early summer, be able to pop off. Maybe not as many people, but with a managed number of people. But by the end of the summer, early fall, I think we'll be rocking.
Will there be mandatory requirements?
In terms of what?
In terms of getting vaccine.
So a lot of the reports are saying, okay, say you do want to go to Winter Park Jazz Festival or you will want to go to a nightclub, you'll have to have some type of proof that you have the vaccine. Is that looking like how is that?
Yeah, possible? That would be smart. Yeah, I'm sorry, Squeaky, I didn't mean to talk over you. That would be smart. That would be on those organizers to mandate that. Government wouldn't mandate it.
Okay.
But the coordinators of Winter Park Jazz might mandate it. Nightclub says we want to go full capacity. You got to show me you were vaccinated before you walk through these doors. Someone can do that, but you won't see government mandate that. Employers may mandate it. You won't see government mandate it.
Okay.
But we hope that we need at least 70% of residents in Denver to be vaccinated before we begin to truly believe that we are herd immunized.
Okay.
I know we only got a couple more questions for you. One question I had was, what would you say?
I said, we get these knocked out, then I got to roll. Go ahead.
Okay. What's the biggest misconception of Mayor Hancock that you would like people to place correction on, that you want to just correct? The biggest misconception?
I think that I lack compassion for the most vulnerable in our community, and nothing drives me more. I mean, I am the most vulnerable. That's who I was growing up in this city. My family was very poor. And it's through that lens of raising my children, being around my 40 nieces and nephews, watching my mother struggle as a single parent. Though that's the lens in which I make decisions. Who's most vulnerable? Who's not being heard? Who's not around this table? How do we make decisions that make sure that we're taking care of those who are most vulnerable in our city? That's my lens, and that's my filter in which I make decisions. And I hope people understand that I would never do anything to purposely harm those who look like me and those who come from the same station in life that I've come from, because it made me who I am.
Definitely.
That's what's up. So you are the biggest Black role model we have, in Denver. So as a Black role model that is representing us in power, what policies have you put in place that positively have a direct impact on our young Black and brown communities?
Great question. When I became mayor, there were 700. We have 29 rec centers around the city of Denver. When I became mayor, only 760 some odd children in our community, in Denver, were members of our rec program. We had a membership fee for kids to become members of the rec program. Mm-hmm. So we had all these rec centers, and our kids weren't out there. And in the meantime, we got kids who are running around in the street. They're more vulnerable for violence and other unhealthy activities. As mayor, I removed that membership fee, and then overnight, literally, we saw 100,000 plus children in our community become members of the rec program and begin to engage in camps and programs where we could reach them and keep them healthier and safe. To me, when I leave this office, that'd be one of the things that I'll be most proud of, is that we have removed barriers for our kids to come into contact with good recreation, healthier activities, and healthy adults to help them.
Definitely. Last question, Mayor. We appreciate you one more time. Again, myself, SQUIZZY Taylor, we appreciate you coming. Your last message to the Denver community, if you could say something, tell them something right now, what would you tell them?
We are living in some amazing times and unprecedented times. We are seeing things that further danger us from our pursuit of happiness and prosperity. But it's not our time to stop. We are being tested, and we are already equipped with everything necessary, all the tools necessary to be successful. This is the time for us to be loving and caring to our neighbor, as we are charged by God to do. And it's also a charge for us to do some self-introspection and say, what can I do to be a part of this? It can never be just about government responding. And if it is, then we've got bigger problems than we can measure right now. And so it's about all of us pulling in and becoming a part of the solution to the challenge, no matter what it is: homelessness, helping our entrepreneurs and small businesses thrive, making sure we patronize them, we spend our money there, making sure that we lift up our young people, we protect them, we know where our children are. That's the responsibility we all have, and we should not become comfortable in our station life, but to be dogged about the fact that when you, DJ KTONE and SQUIZZY Taylor, survive and are successful, guess what? I'm successful. And I'm just as responsible for you getting there and staying there as you are me being here and staying where I am.
Definitely. We appreciate you, Mayor. Last question. Answer this. Finish this sentence for me. Mayor Hancock is what?
Biggest practical joker in Denver, Colorado.
DJ KTONE and DJ SQUIZZY Taylor is
the coolest set of DJs we know.
Yeah.
You feel me?
We appreciate it, Mayor Hancock. This is DOS. We thank you for your time. It's always love. If anything we can help you with, we're available. And we appreciate you taking the time to speak with us this evening.
Definitely.
Well, I'm going to ask you both right now. Now I got to roll and you got to roll too, but I'm going to be doing, I was just thinking about this, and KTONE, I had your number, I was going to call you, but I want you both to think about this. I'm supposed to be doing a fundraiser where I do kind of a versus deal. And I'm supposed to be able to prove that I know R&B soul, and we're going to go back and forth with another celebrity to raise money for a charity. It's going to be for our youth empowerment center that we're setting up in Denver. And I need some DJs to help me do that.
Oh, yeah.
My DJs. Help me come up with a play a verse. So I'd love to have both of you join me and help me do that.
Oh yeah,
we got you. We
locking that in right now.
Let's lock it in. We make it happen for you.
All right, I'll have Gab get in touch with y'all so we can set it up.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
No doubt. We thank you.
Take care.
All right.
Be blessed. Stay safe out here.
Same to you.